Hello, and welcome to Water Additives Training, Introduction to Water Additives. This presentation is known as the water cycle and our path to market. You probably all remember from grade school and high school the water cycle. Rain falls from the sky and lands on the earth, and then through evaporation back to the sky, and then through condensation falls back to the earth in form of rain, and this continues and is what is known as the water cycle. We find that 71% of the Earth's surface is covered with water, but only 2% of the Earth's water is fresh water, and of that 98% is tied up in ice and in groundwater. What does this mean? Well, water is a very scarce commodity. If we consider the type of water we have available to us for purposes on the earth, we have rivers, lakes, oceans, and wells. If we look at rivers, lakes, and oceans, these are known as surface water. They're above the surface and easily obtained. Then well water is also known as groundwater, below the surface. Each one of these brings a unique challenge that we as water treaters are faced when using these waters for industrial or municipal applications. In the case of rivers, we find those and streams have the greatest variation in chemistry and turbidity. Think of after a rainstorm how murky a stream or river will become. Likewise, a lake will have some variations in turbidity and chemistry, but the lake will also function as a buffer and equalize any kind of turbidity or upsets that may occur. There is also some variation in chemistry and turbidity in oceans, but remember there we also have to deal with salt and brackish water. And then lastly, well water. We see very little variation in chemistry and turbidity. However, over time this can change, and there are also variations in geographies throughout the world. We also have to be concerned with brackish water. A good example of that is in the coast of Florida here in the United States. We are starting to see some of the ocean water begin to impinge on many of the wells along the coast, starting to change the freshwater wells into brackish water. When we look at our market, we have two segments that we go to market, the two segments in the water market. We have the industrial segment, and we have the municipal segment. And each gives us a different opportunity and a different challenge. If we look at the municipal market, it's usually driven by bids. It can be price sensitive. We do see some of the larger plants will go directly to the manufacturers. There are need for commodity products. Oftentimes, pre-qualification tests are required before you can be put on a bid. And what that means is simply testing your products in some kind of a lab or scale model to see if your products will function accordingly. And also within the municipal market, there are still many value opportunities that we can bring to the table for the municipal market. On the industrial market, there are several paths to us, and we will go through those a bit later. The industrial market tends not to be as price sensitive. Many customers currently need a distributor, as many manufacturers are looking for distributors to get their products to market. What this means to Brenntag is we can offer the best from every supplier, not just from one, nor are we limited to what we make. And again, very many value opportunities exist. If we look at the industrial water cycle, we have influent water coming into some kind of a process or a plant. From there to a waste treatment plant, back to the environment. Also in the industrial water cycle, we are now starting to see a lot of water reuse, where water is taken and put back into the plant in various different applications. Brenntag, we bring a number of products to the industrial market, things like control biological problems, scale control, corrosion control, sludge dewatering, pretreatment, and we always have the opportunities for commodity chemicals in the industrial market. In the municipal market, we have influent water. through a municipal water treatment plant, from there through a distribution center to homes and businesses, from there to a municipal sewage treatment plant, and then back to the environment. And again, like the industrial market, we also have a number of products that Brenntag brings to the table that are applicable within the municipal market: wastewater treatment, sludge dewatering, and commodity chemicals. We have an excellent brochure here at Brenntag called the Water Additives North America Product List. And this product lists many of the products that we bring to the table for the industrial and municipal markets and water cycle. Some of the highlights are the liquid solid separation polymers, things like coagulants and flocculants. You'll hear inorganic or organic coagulants, which we have all of those. We have the ability to remove heavy metals. We have chemistries like carbon for removing organics. And we have defoamers and antifoams available. We have things like phosphates and phosphonates, antiscalants, corrosion inhibitors, biocides, and membrane cleaners for cleaning the new reverse osmosis membranes. We have cleaners and antiscalants for reverse osmosis applications. We have other chemicals like swimming pool chemicals, resins, pH adjusters, nutrient blends, and sodium and potassium permanganates. We also have many of the commodity chemicals that most of our customers will need: caustics, acids, chlorines, and salts. We also have them in a variety of different packages, bulk to drums to bags. This is what is called the Water Additives North America Product List, and it can be obtained by talking with your Water Additives industry manager. Another thing that we offer is the Water Additives Industry Guides, and these are designed to walk you through, or your customers through, an application. Here we're showing the petrochemical, we have power available, we have metals, and we have the food industry, and it gives you a snapshot of how the industry works. On the back, we also have many of the products that are available in use in each one of the different kind of applications. And there's also a video that can be listened to give you a basic overview of the application. So something new to Brenntag that will allow us to dig a little deeper into the applications. If we look what kind of products we bring to the table, they come in two types of forms. What are known as what are called products that go into formulations. These are things like phosphates or phosphonates, dispersants, antiscalants, or corrosion inhibitors. These are sold into a water treatment company's blended product. They may put a variety of different chemistries into one drum to control a variety of different problems that a cooling system or a boiler system may have. We also have products known as ready-to-use products. These are things like defoamers, antifoams, biocides, coagulants, and flocculants. And these can be used directly out of the drums into municipal applications or industrial applications, things like food, beverages, metals, or power. It should be noted, however, that when using a flocculant, the flocculants must be made down with water prior to being used in an application. In this case, we're showing a dry or an emulsion flocculant, which again needs to be what's called made down before used by a customer. So if we look at the industrial path to market, influent, processed water, wastewater, there are many paths that we can choose to get to that market. We have what are called water treatment service providers, we have toll blenders, and we have end-use customers. And we'll go through each one of these to give you a sense on how we go to the market through these particular customers. So if we look at the small and medium water treatment companies, and on the right we'll see a number of customers that Brenntag currently sells products to. These customers, although they sell chemicals, actually sell service. They are there to manage the water programs. They run tests like check for corrosion rates. They'll check for scale. They'll run periodic jar tests at a waste treatment plant. They'll check biological activity to make sure there's no biological activity causing problems in the system. These customers can range from very small to large. They can treat some or all the plant systems. In some cases, they may only have the waste treatment plant, or in other cases, they may have the cooling boiler and waste treatment plant. They may or may not make their own products, and we'll go through where they get them made here in a moment, but they may make their own products and then bring them to the cooling or boiler systems, and those are what we call products that go into formulations. They are typically regional in scope. They tend to be very experienced, and many of these customers come from the water industry, from the larger water treatment companies, and have started their own chemical companies. The owner is usually the final decision maker. They are always interested in new offerings. These are entrepreneurs, and they are always interested in finding out what is new in the market and what they can bring to their unique to their customers. They will have a need for all of Brenntag products, both our commodity chemicals and our value-added chemicals. They are currently having difficulty getting smaller quantities of packaged goods, and this is where Brenntag fills a very important need for these customers, getting them smaller quantities of products. Many of them are members of what is called the AWT, or the Association of Water Technologies, and I highly recommend maybe visiting the AWT.org to look for AWT members within your territory. There are also the large water treatment companies, GE, Chemtree, Ecolabs. Like the smaller water treatment companies, they do sell service also. They'll offer full or on-site service. They'll come in and run the tests on the plant, but they also may have a lab that they may send water samples back to check different parameters within the water. These companies tend to have a national or international presence or international scope. They can treat all the plant operations, even outside of water treatment. A good example was Ecolabs and the work they're doing in the cleaning and HI&I market, not only in wastewater, but also in the applications within the facilities. They will typically blend their own products and not go through a toll blender, which we'll go through in a moment. They tend to have a large experience range, from very, very young people new to the industry to people that have been around for a number of years. Here there are multiple layers of sales. You have purchasing involved, technical is also involved, and oftentimes sales can be involved. They will tend to have an R&D focus for new projects and new products, but they are occasionally interested in hearing about any new offerings that Brenntag brings to the table. And likewise, they will need many of the commodity products that we offer. Prior to when I worked for a larger water treatment company, my background is primarily in the steel industry. I was buying chlorine off of Brenntag for use in many of my cooling systems because my company did not offer any commodity chemicals, and it made my life a lot easier having the ability to bring in chlorine separately for biological control in many of my systems. Another path that we have to the industrial market is toll blenders. What these folks do is they formulate products. They can blend standard products. They may have their own particular product line of various chemistries that some of the water treatment companies can buy directly from them. They also can make custom formulations. A water treater may come to them and say, I need this particular blend, and they will put it together for them based on their needs and formulations. They have a need for what are called standard and unique products. So anything that is standard within our industry, they are interested in, but then anything that's new, they are also interested in hearing about. They may have the ability to call what a substitute. What that means is, let's say they're currently using product ABC, but XYZ is the exact same chemistry. They are able to bring the other product in to substitute one for the other. They typically have a close relationship with many of the AWT members. They likewise will need commodity products. And they can also touch many industries, not just water. They may be in the food industry, they may be in the cleaning industry, they may be in the paints and coating industries. So they not only work in water, but they may work in other industries as well. Likewise, they're having some problems getting smaller packages, much like some of the smaller water treatment companies are. Lastly, we have the end-use customers a path to market for the end-use customers in the industrial market. They usually have a water treatment supplier. They may have one or several on site. They may have a company treating the process, a separate company treating the boiler cooling, and a separate company treating the wastewater. Or they may have one company treating everything. Likewise, they may need separate commodities either through the customer itself or through the company providing service. Again, their water treatment supplier may also need commodity chemicals, back to the story I told a few moments ago. They may need service. Now let's look at the path to the municipal market. These are primarily sold through public bids, and these are easy to recognize by things like the City of Greensburg, the County of Westmoreland, the Town of Hufftown on the bid document. We like to use what's called a bid locator, and here in the case we're talking about a bid locator called Onvia, which will alert you to any bids that are coming up in your general area. We always recommend looking for caustic opportunities in bids where Brenntag can excel. Look for other successes your rock is having in the municipal market. Are they having a lot of success with flocculants? Or they have a lot of success with chlorine? If polymers or coagulants are on the bid, they must be clearly identified for us to bid, or potentially we need to pre-qualify for the bid. Look for other clearly identified opportunities like corrosion inhibitors, anti-scalants, defoamers, or anti-foams. So now you ask, who do we call on? When we make our path, when we look at our path to market, who do we call on? Well, companies that are small to mid-sized water treatment companies, we call on the owner or the purchasing agent. Medium water treatment companies, again, purchasing agents are typically involved, owners, but you also may see the sales manager get involved in making decisions for his territory, for his sales reps. With the large water treatment companies, we always see the purchasing agent or agents or a buyer. Potentially product managers could be involved in decision makers. You might see technical or R&D being involved. And again, you may see the sales manager involved making decisions on what chemistries to use. In the case of toll blenders, we'll typically see the owner involved along with a purchasing agent. Here you may see a person like a chemist or a formulator being involved, deciding which chemistries to use. And another way to get to the blender market is ask your customers who are they having their products blended by, and then reach out to those blenders. For end-use customers, we'll see purchasing agents or buyers. You may hear terms like the environmental manager, the utilities manager, the production manager, or the wastewater treatment plant managers. These are contacts on who to call on for end-use customers. And then in the municipal market, we always look for a bid locator to look for potential applications and bids in your area. But another thing is speak with the plant managers and ask them, when are your bids coming due? And understand what the next steps may be needed. So today we've talked about the water cycle, both industrial and municipal. We've talked about Brenntag Water Additives products. We've talked about ready-to-use products. We've talked about formulation products. We've talked to the industrial water path to market and the municipal path to market. And we concluded by talking about who should we call on. Would like to thank you for your time, and if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Kevin Cope, and those are my contact information listed. Again, thank you for your time, and have a good day.